Well, cheers and how you doing, Buckaroos? Hey, I'm here the first time this year with the Piney River Racer Ruckus Imperial Stout. Yeah, you know what? They had a barrel aged version of this, which I thought I was buying, um, but the cans were sticky, so I set it down to pick up another 4 pack, and I thought I grabbed the same thing, but I did not. So anyway, I'm kind of bummed about that, but shit happens. But anyway, I had this for the first time last year, so and I hadn't had it yet this year, so it probably makes sense to try this one first. Let me give you a little bit of wisdom from their website. Dark roasted grains provide full malt flavors of chocolate and coffee. The beer is finished on vanilla bean pods and the Piney River blend of brick and mortar fresh roasted coffee beans, adding additional flavor and aroma. It is listed on their website as 10% 80 IBUs. Don't know how accurate that is, but there it is. That's what they say anyway, man. Who am I to call him a liar? Anyway, I'm Todd Beer Whisperer. I love Piney River. I've been going out there from about the beginning. I am a fan of theirs. They're doing some darn fine beers. Like most craft breweries that have been around 5 or 6 years. I mean, they have 4, 5, 6 years. They have, you know, evolved a little bit from where they started. And I think the craft breweries that will survive are those that are going to be able to do that. You need to have a flagship beer that you can count on. That you need some stability. However, you have to be willing to change, and I think that's the problem. A lot of craft brewers aren't willing to change. They can't understand why a beer they did that was so successful, 5 or 6 years ago, all of a sudden isn't selling anymore. While others are selling, that's because the trends keep moving, man. If you've got to keep evolving with them. Now, I'm not saying every brewery should follow every trend because that's wrong too, but you have to be willing to make some changes yourself. I think if you're, somebody does a style that's very popular, I think if you're initial along with that first onslaught, I think you're good. But I think if you're a ways down, if you're a year or two past the trend, I think it's pointless to try to follow it. At that point, you need to come up with something new. Otherwise, you just look like a poser, my opinion. But I love the breweries that are individual. I mean, have a flagship beer that is uniquely theirs and not based on somebody else's beer. The aromas on this are nothing short of spectacular, to be honest with you. A lot of coffee, a lot of chocolate, a lot of vanilla, as you might expect. Yeah, in fact, the more I let this sit out and gradually warm, the chocolate and coffee were always there. They were sharper early on, and they're still there now, but they've kind of mellowed a little bit, and that vanilla has sort of came up to just bring it all together. Sort of holds them all together, keeping one note from being dominant over the others. Flavors, again, right there, I just got a sip of great big dark roast coffee, but then followed by the vanilla kind of lingers its way from the beginning all the way through the middle. That chocolate comes in there, and then at the end, it just cleans up very nicely. Near the end, though, it feels like it's mostly coffee and chocolate. The vanilla is there from the beginning throughout the middle, but it finishes with all coffee and chocolate to me. Cheeseburgers. Yeah, I mean that's pretty tasty, man. It is a beautifully done imperial stout that employs coffee and vanilla beans. This is certainly, an American craft beer. It's kind of what we do. Is we've taken what American craft brewers have done. It's taken traditional styles and then kind of made it their own, and that's why American craft brewers have had the success that they've had because they've been willing to do that. There's nothing wrong with staying with tradition. I love tradition. However, you have to be willing to take some liberties as well and be creative and be innovative. And those brewers that are able to do that will succeed, and those that aren't will not. It's just that simple. You keep hearing every day about another craft brewery going down. And there's always this, I've been hearing this for a decade now, how this craft beer bubble is going to burst, right? Well, make you say, well, here it is, here it is, here it is. They're like Chicken Little. I mean, at some point it may burst, and they're going to say, oh, see, I was right. No, you said it 10 years ago. You're not right. It's like yelling, hey, it's 1 o'clock. And it's not one until the clock gets around. Hey, I told you it was 1 o'clock. No, you're not. It's not quite the same thing. You've been saying it every year, every year, every year. You've been wrong every year. At some point, you're probably going to be right. Anyway, the point I started out making was, yeah, it seems like you're hearing about a craft brewery going down every day, but then you're also hearing about another one popping up every day. Uh, Again, it is changing. The ones that have been around for a while that continue to survive and stay independent are the ones that have been able to do both. Both stay with tradition and to be innovative. And those that have been successful at both are the ones that have survived so far. And I think when it all washes out, those are the ones that are going to be left. That's why I like a brewery like Urban Chestnut, for instance, because they do both. They have a Reverence series and a Revolution series. A Reverence stays close to tradition, while their Revolution, takes it a different direction. I think a brewery like that's going to be very successful because a lot of craft drinkers like myself will always want traditional brews. Of course, you have the younger nouveau craft beer drinkers that want these crazy way out of the box beers. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but my issue is you have a lot of these folks that like to spout a lot of nonsense that don't understand the tradition of craft beer. You have to understand the tradition. Yeah, you have to understand the history. Otherwise, I'm not going to take you seriously because you don't know what you're talking about. The youngsters try to school you on a style based on what they know today, completely disregarding any tradition. And Piney River, again, bringing it back to Piney River, uh, that is something they do well as well. Is they do traditional beers very well, but they have also shown a willingness to get out of the box a little bit. This Imperial Stout, adding coffee and chocolate to an Imperial Stout may not be revolutionary, but the way they do it is spectacular. So there you go. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, Purveyor of Wisdom, and all around good guy. You all have a good one.